Greetings, everyone. Welcome to week 4 of Eat Clean, Get Lean. This is Mike Keenan from KM Fitness, and of course, Susan, always here helping me out as well. We're going to answer a lot of questions at the end tonight. There's a lot of things we need to go over. We'll be talking a lot about sleep and the hormones related to sleep this week. And of course, we'll also be reviewing our nutrition program. By now, at this juncture, we're still in our eat less, exercise less mode. So we're still focusing on our 2 shakes a day and our whole food meal. And of course, trying to have our starch in the evening because starch will help with sleep. And I'm just waiting for a few more people to come on the line here. Have a few people that are traveling down to Florida. Their kids are off from school next week, and I know they'll be listening to this recorded. Whoops, that wasn't supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to move by itself. There we go. We're back. So it's really critical that, again, we stay on target with our food because our food will help our sleep. It's really critical that this Friday, everyone should be taking their measurements and their weigh-ins and getting back to me. Again, we're all using the tool that Susan's put on Facebook. She's also sent it out in the emails with your weekly instructions about using the body shape calculator. And that's a really good way of us monitoring our change in body shape and our change in body composition. Because it's not just what the scale says, it's how your clothes fit, how you feel, is your heck in check, are you losing weight? Okay, so with no further ado, let's jump into sleep and hormones. Now, sleep is one of those things that are really critical to us having success. That and proper exercise, proper nutrition, hydration. If you smoke, stop smoking. And again, we've gone through the foods that we're still trying to abstain from for the first 4 weeks. And one of the critical ones with that, of course, is alcohol. We talked about that last week, not including alcohol in our diet and making sure that we're walking 30, 45 minutes, an hour a day, and how critical that is to our success. Now, I know it's been real cold and snowy, but it's important to try to get those walks in. And again, the walking will help to balance out your hormones, which in turn will help with your sleep. So, insomnia, hormone imbalance, or sleeplessness is both a cause and an effect. Now, basically, hormone imbalance resulting from perimenopause, menopause, adrenal fatigue, or any of its other symptoms may cause sleeplessness, which in turn worsens the hormonal imbalance. Sleeplessness also has many other non-hormonal related causes. These hormonal and non-hormonal causes of insomnia include chronic stress, night sweats, adrenal fatigue, anxiety, and dietary habits. So here we have a guy who's got his cups of coffee trying to stay awake. Okay, we haven't really talked much about this with regards to caffeine, but certainly if you have problems with sleep, we certainly don't want to be drinking coffee after, say, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. For some reason, I don't know why, my slides just jump ahead, but I just jumped back. Now, I just put something out. You got it in email, and it had to do with running. I got a lot of interest in that. And running is a form of chronic stress. And what do we know about chronic stress? Chronic stress increases things like, it increases cortisol. And what do we know about cortisol and melatonin? They're opposite sides of the same coin. So if your cortisol levels are too high, it's going to stop your body from producing melatonin, which will help you to sleep. So we have to find ways to minimize the cortisol impact so that your body can develop the melatonin it needs to sleep. Again, I'm going to go through a lot of this, and I'm going to answer a lot of questions. So hopefully by the end of this presentation tonight, sleep will be less of an issue. So insomnia in women causes hormone imbalance and worsens the symptoms of menopause because the body needs sleep for the body's hormones to do their job properly. Sleep is absolutely essential for repair and rejuvenation. Poor sleep habits, whoops, why is that jumping on me? Here we go, let's go back. Sleep is absolutely essential for repair and rejuvenation. Poor sleep habits can predispose people to an early death by the way of obesity, heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Hormones have no chance to do their healing work without sleep. So when you lose sleep, you really can't catch up. Your hormones just don't spring back like that. Sleeping less than you need affects at least 10 different hormones, causing them to shift and disrupt appetite, fertility, mental health, as well as cardiac health. Sleep is essential to maintain proper hormonal imbalance and health. Insomnia hormones include both testosterone and estrogen. Now, estrogen is a sleep-maintaining hormone. It is common to have an estrogen deficiency in perimenopause and menopause, and when your body's not producing enough natural estrogen, your ability to get a full night's sleep suffers as a result. A lack of testosterone is also an issue for women. Diminished testosterone is linked with snoring and sleep apnea, a repetitive interruption of breath during sleep. Okay. So developing healthy sleep habits also helps prevent insomnia. Developing a bedtime routine and going to sleep around the same time each night helps your body form good sleep tendencies. It's also a good idea to remove distractions or anything likely to disturb sleep from your bedroom, which could include a television or pets. Well, here we have Susan and her newest baby, our little cat, and the cat will jump in bed with us and jump on us while we're sleeping. And we try to close the door, but he finds his way back in the room. And he's always there when I wake up in the morning looking for something to eat. So sometimes, as much as you think it's cute and all, maybe it's better not to have the pets in the room with you. So although it seems strange, it is important to get up and walk around when you find that you're tossing and turning and having a hard time getting to sleep. This is because it is important not to allow your body or mind to associate your bed with sleeplessness. So here we have someone up reading and someone up late doing the dishes. So get up and get out of bed if you're having trouble sleeping. And let's find out why you're having trouble sleeping. So relief from insomnia and balanced hormones provides several benefits. Sound sleep grants a reduced risk of high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, and depression. When testosterone is balanced, slow wave or deep sleep is easier to achieve. If you sleep enough each night, you can lose weight as a result of a decrease in your cortisol level. Furthermore, greater sleep length is associated with a reduced incidence of breast cancer, and people who nap for 30 minutes at least 3 times a week had a 37% chance of lower chance of heart attack. Again, it has to do with the stress hormones. Some experts believe sleep gives neurons used while we are awake a chance to shut down and repair themselves. Without sleep, neurons may become so depleted in energy or so polluted with byproducts of normal cellular activities that they begin to malfunction. Sleep also may give the brain a chance to exercise important neural connections that might otherwise deteriorate from a lack of activity. Now, so let's talk a little bit about sleep apnea and insomnia in men. The cause of insomnia in men often varies significantly from the causes of insomnia with women. The low testosterone associated with andropause, or the male menopause, can contribute to sleep apnea in men, leading to insomnia or sleeplessness. Oops, I think I jumped to too many. Hold on a second, guys. Yeah, I did. Just so let's get a definition of what sleep apnea is. Sleep apnea is the interruption of or difficulty breathing during sleep. It affects approximately 9% of adult males and is more common in obese males. The inhibited breathing and the loud snoring common of sleep apnea tends to disrupt sleep many times throughout the course of the night. When testosterone levels are in the optimal range, slow wave or deep sleep is easier to achieve. Thus, there is improvement in sleep in various ways when testosterone levels are optimal in men. Insomnia in men resulting from low testosterone and sleep apnea can lead to several other problems, including fatigue, reduced insulin sensitivity, low human growth hormone levels, and high cortisol levels. Let's talk a little bit about cortisol. Cortisol, the stress hormone, will increase with prolonged insomnia because of the stress on the body. Constant high levels of cortisol can create a hormonal pattern that further reduces testosterone production. It can, sorry guys, I don't know why, but this is just jumping ahead on me. Here we go. Excuse me. Okay, so we're talking about constant high levels of cortisol can create a hormone pattern that further reduces testosterone production. It can also lead to adrenal fatigue, which often worsens the fatigue and the insomnia. Now, human growth hormone is naturally made during the first 90 minutes of sleep. Therefore, if your sleep is disrupted, your growth hormone production is reduced. This can lead to lower levels of testosterone and lower levels of lean body mass. Sleep is also very important for proper insulin sensitivity and glucose control. If sleep is disrupted, the body stops utilizing insulin as effectively, and the body begins to need more and more insulin to control blood sugar. This leads to weight gain and a pre-diabetic state that, if not well managed, can lead to diabetes. Now, obstructive sleep apnea is caused by obstructive breathing, either due to too much tissue, as seen in obesity, or decreased muscle tone, which may also be seen with low testosterone. This inhibits the airflow in the mouth and nose, which causes snoring and decreased ability for adequate oxygenation during sleep. As a result, men often wake up numerous times. Man, I'm going to have to get my my tech in here. I don't know why this is jumping from slide to slide without me pushing. Okay, so as a result, men often wake up numerous times during the night and rarely achieve deep sleep. So we have some helpful natural sleep supplements. Things like melatonin. Melatonin is a natural hormone that helps regulate the sleep-wake cycles. Those are called your circadian rhythms. Find a supplement that combines melatonin with 5-HTP and L-theanine. We use something called ID Life sleep strips. Okay, and these are just very simple strips. They go underneath your tongue, they dissolve, and if this slide jumps on me, I may jump back, guys, so just hang with me a little bit. And what you want is this. The 5-HTP and the L-theanine help to decrease cortisol levels, okay? Because what do we know? Cortisol and melatonin are opposite sides of the same coin. So if your cortisol levels go high, your body's going to naturally not produce melatonin. Now, this makes perfect sense if you think of it in these terms. When you're under a very stressful condition, what could be going on? Well, it could be that you're protecting your cave from the wild animals in 10,000 BC, or you're in the middle of a battle at nighttime and you can't fall asleep, because if you fall asleep at your guard duty, the enemy's going to come and storm your castle, and everyone dies. So there's some survival mode that jumps in here, and this is our part of our fight or flight response. So when our cortisol levels are high, it's going to naturally suppress melatonin levels so that you don't fall asleep. But our goal is to fall asleep, and we have stress from things happening at work and things happening in the home, and other things that cause us to stay awake. that cause us to have chronically high cortisol levels. So we need to find a way to decrease our anxieties, decrease our stress, to help decrease our cortisol. By giving you 5-HTP and L-theanine, we're going to naturally lower stress hormones like cortisol, and that will allow our body to naturally start to self-regulate and increase melatonin. So with the ID Life sleep strips, what they do is they give you the L-theanine and the 5-HTP and give you a little boost of melatonin to help you fall asleep and stay asleep. Okay. One of the other things we use is something called Yogi Bedtime Tea. Okay. So what we say is don't use one tea bag, use 2 or 3 tea bags. Then put a lid on the pot that keeps oils in the water so you get the medicinal effects of the tea. Now, the kava plant is a member of the pepper plant and has also been shown to relieve anxiety. Both kava and valerian root improve sleep in people with stress-related insomnia. GABA. GABA is another substance that activates the major calming neurotransmitters, promoting relaxation and reducing anxiety. But the body has difficulty absorbing supplements containing synthesized GABA. That's why experts recommend theanine, which the body can easily absorb and ultimately use to boost the levels of GABA. So we talked about the sleep strips, the ID Life sleep strips having that L-theanine in it. Valerian root, we just talked about that. It's been used as a sedative and anti-anxiety treatment for more than 2,000 years. And magnesium. Along with contributing to a good night's sleep, this light, silvery, metallic element is an often overlooked nutrient that helps maintain normal muscle and nerve function, keeps heart rhythm steady, supports a healthy immune system, and keeps bones strong. Magnesium also helps to regulate blood sugar levels and promote normal blood pressure, according to the National Institute of Health. Lack of magnesium inhibits nerve cell communication, which leads to cell excitability. So magnesium is something that you can get through a supplement. It's also available in a lot of your green plant foods. And another way of getting it is by taking an Epsom salt bath. Your body will naturally absorb the magnesium that's in the Epsom salt bath. So when we talk about things like your R&R activities like massage, Epsom salt baths, okay, these are all very, very important things that help to lower stress hormone, which will help you to promote natural sleep. That was a great slide Susan put together for me. So here's some other helpful sleep hints. Keep noise and light to a minimum. Use earplugs, window blinds, heavy curtains, or even an eye mask. Make sure the room is cool below 68 degrees. Small night lights in your bedroom and bathroom are a good idea. Okay, so it's important that we try to keep that pineal gland from getting stimulated. That's a gland that's back behind your eyes, and when that's stimulated by light, it stops you from falling asleep. Okay, and that's all part of your sleep-wake cycle, and that's why we sleep at nighttime. And that's why people, oh, excuse me, I'm talking about sleep. I'm getting ready to go to sleep. And that's why people who work night shifts and try to sleep during the day have so many problems, because our body's not designed to sleep during the daytime hours. And as much as we say, well, you know, I have to work at nighttime, I understand that. But if you're going to do that for year in, year out, your health is really going to decay. And I think if you know someone who works overnight, you can obviously see the changes in them from the time that they weren't working to the time they were working overnight. And I think you can get away with that when you're a little younger. But as we get older, it certainly has a huge effect on our health. Another thing is avoid large meals 2 hours before bedtime. A light snack is fine. Don't drink caffeine, including tea and soft drinks, 4 to 6 hours before bedtime. I said that earlier. I wouldn't drink any caffeine or coffee after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Regular exercise like walking will help reduce stress hormone and help you sleep better. But don't exercise within 2 hours of bedtime. You may have more difficulty falling asleep. Don't nap late in the afternoon. Stop working on a task an hour before bedtime to calm your brain. That's a good one. Don't discuss emotional issues right before bedtime. Keep pets outside your sleeping area if you can. Make sure your room is well ventilated and at a comfortable temperature. And learn a relaxation technique like meditation or progressive relaxation to help you fall asleep. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Heck and Check and what to do, because we didn't really talk about nutrition, so it's important that we kind of wrap things up a little bit with that. So everyone's Heck should be in check by now. You're in week 4. We got one more week, like I said, of eat less, exercise less. Next week we're going to make a little shift, and again, you saw that in the notes that Susan sent out this week. So Heck, again, hunger, energy, and craving is in check, and you're still losing weight. Don't change anything. Keep doing what you're doing. If your Heck is not in check, you're going to add 10 grams of fat. If it's still not in check, you're going to subtract the fat and then add 3 to 5 bites of carbohydrate, which could be a half a cup of brown rice or a half a sweet potato. Now, if you're 6'2" and 240 pounds, you're going to add a cup of brown rice and a full sweet potato. You have to go by the amount of lean mass you have. So I kind of use, if you're below 150 pounds lean mass, you're probably going to opt more for the half a cup. If you're over 150 pounds lean mass, you're probably going to go with a little bit more. But again, we're teaching you how to be a food detective and to help to determine what's working and what's not working. Okay, I have someone who is starting to really have issues that they're hungry all the time. Well, if you're hungry all the time, your Heck's not in check. So we have to start to make some changes in your food program. Okay, and again, that's what Susan and I are here to coach you. So if you're having those problems, let's make sure that we know about it, and let's go through this checklist just like we're doing right now. We could do this in my office. We can do this over the phone. Okay, if Heck is still not in check after adding the carbohydrate back, add the fat back in. And if it's still not in check, you can go with 1 to 2 protein snacks. And that could be a half of a protein shake. It could be a Quest food bar. It could be some rolled up turkey and some avocado, some rolled up turkey in some romaine lettuce, or it could be, I'm going to have a salad. We gotta find ways to keep your Heck in check, and then we'll find ways to help you to continue to lose weight. Okay, let's talk a little bit about fat loss. Your Heck is in check, but you're not losing weight. We have to start to make some changes. So we're going to start to remove some carbohydrate in the breakfast or lunch. This will be more when we get into the eat more, exercise more model. Right now, most people are not having a starch with their breakfast or their lunch. Okay. Step 2 is, if your Heck is in check, but you're still not losing weight, we're going to try to increase to 1 hour of walking daily. Okay. If that's still not working, we're going to shift people back to the eat less, exercise less model, because they were losing weight in that model. So we want them to go back to that. And again, this is going to be more when we get into next week with the eat more, exercise more. 4 would be move to a metabolic workout and burst training versus traditional workouts. Again, next week we'll move into the eat more, exercise more model. So look for notes before next week's meeting, because a lot of this will make a whole lot more sense. For most of us, stick with what's working. Stick with your 2 shakes a day and your whole food meal. And if that's not enough, you know what to do. You know what you need to add into your meals or add into your snacks. And again, if you're trying to over-exercise and under-eat, we know that's not working. The eat less, exercise more model is what got us into a lot of trouble to begin with. Okay, so we're going to dive into some questions. But before we do that, I'm going to get out of this and I'm going to show you a video. And hopefully, hopefully it'll work. Okay. Okay. Hi. Oh, Susan says, hi, everyone. I put the incorrect date in for this evening's webinar. So Mike is not aware that there may have been some glitches. I apologize. Please let me know if you need anything while Mike is presenting. And it doesn't look like anybody put anything in there. So Okay, we're going to try to run a video here, guys. So hold on a second. And I don't see the video coming up on my screen, so I'm going to assume that we're having some technical difficulties. So I'm going to have to email you that because I thought it'd be popping up on my screen, but it's not. So, and Susan's in the other room. She doesn't know I'm having this trouble yet. All right, well, I'm going to have to go to chat until she walks in because you guys are on about a 30-second delay, just so you know. So any questions? Let's see if we can take some questions. I'll just wait to see if anything pops up with questions. And I'm going back and forth. You're seeing this now. I don't know why I'm not getting my video to pop up. So let's keep going back to chat. And I don't see anything coming up in my chat box, guys. So I'm going to assume that there's no questions for tonight. Again, this was a quick one. I just wanted to go over sleep. I wanted to review the Eat Less, Exercise Less model that we're still in. And I want to make sure everyone's on target. While I'm waiting for Susan to come in, let me talk to you about some experiences with regards to sleep apnea. Nope, that's all right. Susan's just walking in now. Just so you know, Susan, when I click on video and I click on here, nothing happens. So I don't know what went wrong. So I told everyone I would just go ahead and email them the video. Yeah. So I don't know. It's okay. No big deal. They'll get the video in their email.
All right.
I'm just was going into a little bit of conversation about sleep. Right, and I've done that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about sleep apnea before I let everybody off the phone.
Okay.
Good, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. We'll send it out in an email. I'm just going to go ahead and get off the screen because I don't like this screen. There we go. We'll leave this up here. Yeah, we'll leave a nice T-bone question mark up there. Sleep apnea is something that could be extremely devastating. I always tell a story about my friend Will Smith, and Will was one of the first people that Susan learned nutrition from. Will was a professional bodybuilder. He was on the original American Gladiators, and he is probably one of the most brilliant people I've ever met with regards to his ability to take very difficult science and nutrition and physiology and explain in very simple terms. And I think Susan and I both got a tremendous benefit from working with him. But he worked with a very famous athlete named Reggie White. And Reggie played on the Philadelphia Eagles. And then he went on to win a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. And it was shortly after Reggie had retired from football that Will was asked to work with him. And Reggie's weight had gone well over 400 pounds at this point in time. And he suffered from sleep apnea. And Will had told him that this is a really big problem, that taking this lightly is the wrong way to think about it, that this could be devastating. And just to show you, here's someone who basically had more money than he could spend and had a great lifestyle. He just let his lifestyle spin out of control, and he died in his sleep of a heart attack, I think at age 42. So this is a very real thing. This is a real problematic thing. What happens is, and we talked about this earlier in the call, is that when the testosterone in the body starts to drop, and that happens when someone's obese. When you're obese, you start to develop more estrogen and you start to decrease your testosterone. And when that happens, you start to lose muscle tone. And it's not just muscle tone in your shoulders and your arms, it's also the muscle tone of the muscle in the throat. And it stops supporting the soft tissue. And sleep apnea is like the word picture I want to use with you is I want you to think of a paper straw in a malted or milkshake. Okay, now what happens when a paper straw gets real wet? You go to draw the milkshake through it and it collapses and the straw becomes dysfunctional because you're putting pressure on one end of the straw to draw the liquid up to you. But because the paper straw loses its integrity because it's so wet, that pressure just causes it to close down. It's the same thing that happens in sleep apnea. Your diaphragm is pulling down, creating a negative pressure to fill your lungs. But because the soft tissue in the throat is not being supported by the musculature, it closes down and stops and closes your air passage. So you stop breathing. And what does your body do? Your body wakes you up so that you can start breathing again. And you keep doing that over and over and over again during the course of the night. You never get into what they call rapid eye movement sleep. And you start to suffer from insomnia. And you wake up the next day and you have a headache, you feel dehydrated, and you feel really, really tired. So, one of the ways to obviously to help this is to help you to lose weight and to get your testosterone levels higher so that you start to develop more muscle tone. Now, there's the other thing is that a lot of people like myself have a lower jaw that's quote unquote underdeveloped. In other words, I have a very small mouth. If you look at your hand and you take your ring finger, your middle finger, and your index finger, and you kind of make a fist like that, you take those three knuckles should be able to fit into your mouth with no problem. Okay? If you can't put three knuckles into your mouth, then you have a small mouth or you have a decreased aperture. Okay? With me, I can barely put two knuckles into my mouth. Okay, what are some of the other telltale signs? And I'm sharing this with you so that you can kind of get an understanding of how important this really is. What other things have I suffered with? I've had 6 or 8 teeth pulled from my mouth, and I had braces when I was younger because I had such a crowded mouth with teeth that the teeth didn't fit. So, of course, what happens? You start to develop an overbite. So in order to fix that, I had a teeth removed and the braces put on to straighten my teeth out. Okay, so what am I getting at? What I'm saying is that I have the normal amount of teeth and the normal amount of soft tissue in my throat and my soft palate, but the area in which all that is contained is too small because I have an underdeveloped lower jaw. So that's like trying to put 3 pounds of sugar in a 2-pound bag. It doesn't fit. So guess what? I have sleep apnea. I've had sleep apnea probably since college, maybe even before. With me, it's not a case of weight because I wrestled at 177 pounds, which is pretty lean for a guy like me. And I still had sleep apnea. And as a matter of fact, I remember being in college and my roommate, I said, God, man, you snore horribly. And then when I got married, Susan said, I can't believe how loud you snore. There's something wrong. And of course, I went for a sleep study and had it verified that I indeed have sleep apnea. And since 1994, which is now coming up on 21 years, I've used something called a CPAP machine. And what that does is this. Let's go back to the paper straw scenario. If you try to suck a malted back through a paper straw, the paper straw collapses and no liquid flows through. But if you blow down into it, the paper straw expands and you start to get little bubbles in your malted or your milkshake or your chocolate milk, whatever. So a CPAP machine puts a positive air pressure through the nose. It inflates, so to say, or expands the air passageways so that when the diaphragm pulls, it keeps the nasal passages and the air passages open so that you can breathe and you don't snore and you can sleep, and then you don't have the effects of sleep apnea. And that's something that's permanent. Now, some people have said, well, I know people who have had surgery to remove some of the soft tissue from their palate and their throat to help with the sleep apnea. Okay, and it's been my experience now for 21 years working with people who've had this surgery that it does not significantly change because they can't remove enough of the soft tissue and they can't change enough of the decrease in muscle tone to make a positive effect long term. So the treatment choice today, and if you know someone who's having problems with sleep apnea, send them to me. I will talk to them. I will tell them that it's not their fault. It's not something that we can shame you into changing. Okay, can we improve it by losing weight and increasing testosterone? Yes, but that may not be the treatment choice that's going to give them long-term changes. Okay, and how do doctors determine what is the best course of action? Quite frankly, well, you can go for what's called a sleep study, and they'll monitor your sleep, and then they'll put you on the CPAP, and they'll see how that changes. And there's different air pressures. Different people need certain amount of air pressure in order to keep their breathing passages open. So they'll test you on different pressure levels and determine what works best for you as far as sleeping. And just so you know, sleep medicine is a huge practice right now. And the facility that I went to happened to be right across from Jersey Shore Medical Center. They have a whole sleep study lab there. So you go there, you sleep there that night, they monitor you, and then you meet with a respiratory therapist who determines what is the best course of action. And it's all very easily done, and it's painless, it's innocuous, and they fit you with the proper mask to help you sleep at nighttime, the mask that keeps the air pressure flowing so that the breathing passages stay open, and then everybody gets a good night's sleep. So that's my little story on sleep apnea and how serious it can be, yet how easy it is to remedy. Let me see if I have any questions now that I've been ranting and trying to make sure everybody had plenty of an opportunity to chat. I don't see anything in my chat window, guys, so I'm going to say good night. And I'm going to ask if anybody has any questions. I'm going to go on Facebook for a while. If there's things you wanted to ask me but you didn't get in, I'll probably stay on Facebook for about a half hour. And then I'm going to eat dinner. And then I'm going to go to bed because my first client came in this morning at 5 o'clock. And I'm a little tired. So I'm going to take my own advice and work on getting a good night's sleep. So again, any questions, concerns about anything, sleep, alcohol, walking, nutrition, exercise, feel free to ask away. If not tonight, send me a message tomorrow. All right, take care. Everybody have a good night and sleep well, and we'll see you all real soon. Bye-bye.